let's talk about them. So I predicted 6 games. You predicted 7 games. A lot of people had seven.
Seven.
Some people even had the Heat upsetting. But the Miami Heat get swept by the Bucks, I guess, in some revenge from their bubble embarrassment last year. I don't know if Jimmy Butler wasn't 100% or something, but the Heat just did not look good that entire series.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have to blame a lot of this on Jimmy Butler because he played like someone that wasn't an all-star. And this is someone that we were putting in our all NBA teams
Mm-hmm.
and we're saying, man, he's the best leader. And I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and say it's because of injury. Also his role players didn't show up, so I don't know what he could have
Yeah,
done.
Tyler Hero was
Like
terrible.
Goran Dragic
Yeah,
wasn't really good after the first game. Same with Duncan
yeah.
Robinson. Victor Oladipo just didn't play. Probably they said he might miss next season. So I can't see him signing for more than like a minimum or maybe a mid-level, but I can't see him signing for anything big, at least not
Yeah.
from the Heat.
Yeah.
So you're going to get someone else in, Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, obviously, ideally Kawhi Leonard or Bradley Beal, but
Yeah.
a realistic option of Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan. This team's going to be back in it. They're going to be retooled. They're going to have another star, and they're going to be good again. They're going to be a top 4 seed, and you just had an off year. You just had to think about that. You bet on the wrong guy. Instead of betting on Kyle Lowry, you bet on Victor Oladipo being just as good, and he couldn't play. So Pat Riley made a wrong bet, and
Yeah.
he's going to fix it in the offseason like he always does.
Yeah, and speaking of the offseason, so Jimmy Butler is 36 mil next year, and then Bam is 28. Tyler Hero is only 4. Precious Chu is only 2. Outside of that, Dragic is a 19.4 player option, and Iguodala is a 15. Sorry, a 19.4 team option. Iguodala is another team option at 15. There's no one else on the payroll next year. Like they could completely tear this
Yeah.
down and basically just have Bam and Jimmy as their only high salary players and sign anyone they want, trade for anyone they want. They have a lot of options going into next year. Obviously, Kawhi is like the main, like is like kind of the only max like worth signing this year. Um, I don't know. Bradley Beal trades are always options. Like they have so many options. But if they don't make a lot of good signings, it could also go south. But
Yeah, I would be surprised if one of those four aren't there. Kawhi Leonard, I think, is going to be his Clipper. I think he's going to either they're going to have a good playoff run or they're going to get Russell Westbrook. I think Bradley Beal, I don't see the Wizards blowing it up. We talked about it. We see the coach getting fired instead. Option 3, Kyle Lowry. I think that's pretty likely. 2-year, 25 million deal. He's going to be better than Goran Dragic. He's going to be a way better defender, and they could probably play together when it comes to playoff time.
yeah, yeah,
And that could just be a sign and trade for like Kendrick Nunn, someone who they probably don't want to bring back on like a $15 million deal or whatever.
mm-hmm.
Still keep Duncan Robinson. So like that's option. And then DeMar DeRozan's option too. I don't know how good this option is because Jimmy Butler is not the greatest shooter. Bam Adebayo is not the greatest shooter.
yeah,
And DeMar DeRozan is not the greatest shooter. So I don't know how DeRozan, but if those 3 guys don't come in, I could see them going get DeMar DeRozan for like a 4 year like
mm,
$100 million deal, get him in there, and maybe not even like play a whole like season with him, but maybe he just gets like traded eventually or whatever.
mm.
But I could just see them landing one of the big stars. I'll be surprised if they don't land one of the 4.
Kyle Lowry, I think, is probably the most likely option and most
Yeah,
other than Kawhi, probably the best option. He fits their team a lot better than DeMar DeRozan, I think. Uh, but yeah, and it's just going to be interesting to see what happens with Kendrick Nunn, Duncan Robinson. I don't expect Iguodala back, but Kendrick Nunn is important for them, and so is Duncan
yeah.
Robinson. But how important is he? Is he 15 mil important? Is Duncan Robinson 18 million important? Like that's when it gets kind
Those
of
are the contracts those are gonna get, right?
yeah,
They're gonna get those contracts. Those are the market value contracts. And when we talk about Kawhi, people are going to be like, man, why do you bring up Miami? Because when he was in Toronto, the snow and the cold was a
mm,
major factor.
yeah,
So, like, he's going to go somewhere warm. We don't think he's going to jump ship onto the Lakers.
yeah,
We don't see a Texas team really, you know, poised up to get him. So, really, it's kind of Miami. That's
yeah,
the only warm city left.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think they're gonna get him if he leaves. But the question is, if does he leave? Hopefully, he doesn't do the thing like with the Lakers. I don't know if he did this intentionally. I don't know if he tried to like sabotage the Lakers because he knew he was going to the Clippers. He waited incredibly long, which was
Mm,
bad for the Raptors, bad for the
yeah.
Lakers. And people were saying it's to sabotage the Lakers' chances of getting that third star, so they had to get role players instead. Hopefully, he doesn't do that to Miami, and other teams waiting for him, and he just signs right away because
Yeah.
Miami still needs that time to recoup and get a DeMar or Kyle Lowry if Kawhi says no.
Yeah, that's a really good point because that did hurt the Lakers. The Lakers ended up overspending on Danny Green and
Yeah,
a couple other guys there. Yeah,
still
so
worked.
yeah, they won the
Yeah.
championship, but hopefully he doesn't pull that again. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here so you never miss the best clips from Stretch the Floor. Hit the links in the description below to find us on all podcast platforms and follow us on Instagram.